And now a word from our sponsor, Heartland National Life Insurance Company. Guys, when I talk about Heartland National Life Insurance Company, I get pretty passionate because those guys have been so good to us in our endeavor to better serve our clients with fully customizable hospital indemnity plans to go along with both ACA and Medicare Advantage plans successfully. I'm looking at the notes. I had to break script, but it is important to note that Heartland National provides competitive Medicare supplement options and hospital indemnity plans in 36 states. That's 36 states where you're going to have a product selection with this company. And this company was started by an agent with the agent in mind. It's very important to know that because when you're out there producing, sometimes it feels like you're not thought of by the insurance company, but this product is thinking of the consumer and the agent alike. It makes it really easy for us to do our job, covering more risks, getting compensated like we deserve, and making sure that our clients have the coverage they need. Head over to BobbyBrockInsurance.com/Heartland, BobbyBrockInsurance.com/Heartland to get set up with access to these products immediately. You're not going to regret it. Thanks, guys, for watching. What's going on, guys?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Insurance Gurus podcast. This is Steven Martinez alongside my co-host Justin Brock. Today is Wednesday, January 5th.
Yes.
And what do we got going on today, Justin?
Oh, today we have a lot going on, man. We've been dealing with agency acquisition stuff, commission issues, all kinds of new year
Fun stuff.
woes. Learning a lot of stuff. Good thing is those new deposits from all the efforts in AEP are starting to roll in, so that makes some of it better. Of course, Mallory and Kelly are walking behind looking all exhausted. I don't think they know. I'm gonna have to give them a bonus or something. So they're gonna have to see the deposit so they can be excited too. So guys, we're so excited to be kicking off. This is our first live stream and podcast of 2022
Of the new year. Yes.
Perfect. We might get a little bit of juice out of Steven left his headphones plugged up, so hopefully they're not they don't die too soon.
We'll see how long I can stick around.
We'll see. But today we got a good guest coming on. We have another one at 1, but today at 11 Central right now, we have Medicare Misty, and she's going to pop up here. I think, some of the things that she's really good at is grassroots marketing and growing a brand and helping a whole lot of people. The way a quality way to build a business that's hard to take away from someone because it's tied to her efforts and energy and name and that recognition and quality support. So we're gonna get her up here in a minute, and we'll talk about whatever comes to mind. That's how we do things. If you guys have any specific questions for her, for us about the new year, how to spend those deposits to make sure that you're maximizing your effort going into this year, just let us know. go ahead and put them in the comments. And you can, what is that link?
StreamYard.com/Facebook.
Yeah, if you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, it'll definitely get your name on the comment, so we'll know who's talking to us. Otherwise, if you leave a comment, it'll just show up to us as Facebook user or YouTube user. Also, make sure you're commenting if you can hear us. If you can't hear us, let us know, because we're not professional audio technicians, but we're getting better. So hopefully this works out. Before we pull Misty up here, we're gonna have a quick small break with one of our sponsors, Heartland National. So check it out. And now a word from our sponsor, Heartland National Life Insurance Company. Guys, when I talk about Heartland National Life Insurance Company, I get pretty passionate, because those guys have been so good to us in our endeavor to better serve our clients with fully customizable hospital indemnity plans to go along with both ACA and Medicare Advantage plans successfully. I'm looking at the notes. I had to break script, but it is important to note that Heartland National provides competitive Medicare supplement options and hospital indemnity plans in 36 states. That's 36 states where you're going to have a product selection with this company. And this company was started by an agent with the agent in mind. Very important to know that. And you're out there producing, sometimes it feels like you're not thought of by the insurance company, but this product is thinking of the consumer and the agent alike. Makes it really easy for us to do our job, covering more risk, getting compensated like we deserve, and making sure that our clients have the coverage they need. Head over to BobbyBrockInsurance.com/Heartland, BobbyBrockInsurance.com/Heartland, to get set up with access to these products immediately. You're not going to regret it. Thanks, guys, for watching. All right, Misty's on there. Let's get what is this one here? There we go. Move perfect. We're in frame now.
Woohoo!
And we can hear you.
Yay!
Right.
I love that beard in that commercial.
Oh man, I'm trying to. That's my New Year beard.
He's trying to get burly on
us. You look like a caveman. I love it.
That's right. I'm trying to get the caveman look going on. I'm trying to decide if my wife's going to like it or not. Depends. I told her I was going to look like ZZ Top soon. So.
Oh, that's even cooler. And then you braid it. You can actually put your name in there.
That's right. I don't have Christmas lights.
Yeah, I've seen all kinds of cool beard designs. You can go fancy with it.
I've seen some of those too.
Then you would have it always.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Misty. We appreciate it. Hope people are commenting. Let us know if you can hear us. I did hear a little bit of weird feedback on that last commercial. We'll have to figure that out. But otherwise, we're here, and we have Medicare Misty here. And so, like we always do, Misty, I just want to take a minute to kind of go back and let's talk about like how long you've been in the business, where you started, what made you get into Medicare, all those kind of things, just so the audience can get familiar with it, because we know that you've built an impressive business, and we're always trying to find other people we can learn from, but we want to introduce you to the guests. So what got you into Medicare, and how long have you been in it?
Well, it's totally God, because I wanted pharmaceutical sales, and I interviewed 25 times for a pharmaceutical sales position after being laid off from a disability company here locally. They had laid off our whole department off, and all my friends had gotten into pharmaceutical. So I said, I want to do that. They had the, big salary, gas card. They give you the free car, every girl's dream. And interviewed 25 times, got turned down. And this lady came in and said, how would you like to sell Medicare? And I was like, what's Medicare? And she laughed, and, because it's 30 at that time. And she said, well, it's, helps seniors with their Medicare and people on disability. And I said, well, and I already had my health license with that insurance company since 2000. They had gotten me my insurance license. And I said, yeah, I guess I could try it.
Yeah.
Fast forward 16 years later, I started with HealthSpring, which is now Cigna. They came to Chattanooga in 2005. And then in 2006, Humana came to me and said, hey, they're not paying you enough money. And they weren't. The commissions were a lot higher at Humana. So I worked my way up to sales manager there, moved to a cold area, and realized I'm not a snow bunny. I'm more of the mountain girl. So Blue Cross Blue Shield offered me a position to come home and be the first outside sales agents with their team. That was 2009. And then in 2011, because of healthcare reform, they took our whole Medicare department took us in there like cattle and gave us a pink slip and said, we're getting rid of the department and here's your severance package. And I was like, I think it's time for me to do my own. And, I had the blessing of working with the Fortune 500 companies to learn the business, because I really feel for agents that come in and are trying to learn it all in one. And Medicare alone is hard, but I had the blessing to be able to work for the 500 companies, be a manager in the community, build my brand while I had their corporate credit card, which, as you know, is the toughest part of our business, is building your brand, the money to do it. And, grassroots marketing wasn't a thing that was taught, in school. Networking's not taught. But I'd come from it. You should be. You're exactly right. And I think now Harvard and all those other schools are now teaching, that networking, because they know that it's working better. And
hey, by the time a kid's in Harvard, his family's probably pretty good at networking already.
I think he's had a little bit of training.
At least somebody in that family knows what they're doing, or he's a bona fide genius.
Exactly. Or doesn't have to work for the rest of his life. I'm
That's
sure
right.
That's
right. Well, that's an awesome story. It's similar like to Emily Trevino's. Like, she started at Cigna Health screening some carriers and worked for an FMO before starting her independent. But yours is similar, and it is a great way to start. And hindsight's always like 2020. Like, people say, well, if you're starting over, what would you do now? Well, I'm assuming knowing every single thing now, you'd start independent from the get-go. But at the same time, it did give you that chance to go out and meet people, on the back of that. And then when you did go independent, you had a little bit of a network then that helped. So that's awesome. But you also lived through a couple of, big layoff sessions that, hopefully people that are watching never have to go through, because it's a big period of uncertainty and opportunity, and you capitalized on it. So you probably have some personality traits that are really helpful in this business, coming from that background and then capitalizing on uncertainty as opportunity. So that's awesome. Sure. And so you're in Chattanooga, Misty, right?
I am. Yeah.
Big town of Chattanooga.
Yeah. Chattanooga, man. My wife was just up there a couple of weeks ago. We took a little family trip up there a few years ago to Cape. I was at Lookout Mountain.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
All that stuff.
That's where you see the 4 states in one spot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seven
states. Yeah.
I feel like I can actually maybe see 3 or 4 of them. The rest of them, they're like, it'll say, in that one, if you look 288 miles that way, but it is
like, good.
yeah. My eyes are not good. I need some spectacles on it. But it is a cool spot. So, and Chattanooga is a great place. I'm sure it's
Beautiful
a growing place. So, when you started, grassroots marketing, like you said, wasn't necessarily a taught thing, or even something that maybe in the insurance industry they might not even been necessarily calling it that at the time. But like, when you went out and started doing that, what are some of the things that you think were the most fruitful time spent over your initial time?
I think one of the biggest things is, this is a relationship business. And so the hardest thing is when you go to a senior center and try to, you're actually doing a good thing. You want to help them, but they're very protective of their seniors. So building a relationship, giving them something first and build that relationship, because they have, just like, us being in the field for so long, we have tons of people that come out and ask us to market with them, to spend marketing money, because our name's out there, and they say, well, they're buying this, they'll probably buy from us. And the senior centers, I think, get the same thing. Doctors, everybody kind of wants their business. So you have to stand apart. And I found out giving something back, and it could be something small. I found cheap ways, and there's men too, but women are bargain shoppers. We can find a $200 shoes for $10 somewhere, and we can do the same. I found a really good restaurant here that I partnered with, and I said, if you could give me a break I will do a bunch of these, but enough where you can make a little money, I can save a little money, and I can use you constantly from the advertisement. And people loved it because nobody were using this restaurant because it was too expensive. So finding ways to partner because I didn't have that money. The one thing I tell agents when they come in about being independent is having that renewal, that residual base. When you work for a company, that salary is high, but when you leave, that salary's gone. So I had to start and build a business, and I didn't want to use my 401k. So I had to come up with something creative. I tried to do a business loan, and back then, even being women, still being a minority, there was not all the opportunity that's available for business loans that there is now. I mean, I tried everything to try not to be able to do what I'm doing now so I would grow faster, but it ended up I'm not able to get that. So that's why I started the grassroots marketing with the doctor's offices, with financial advisors, CPAs. And now I get to do, I tell my agents now, they see me now, but they didn't see me 16 years ago when who's Medicare Misty,
Yeah.
and even though they knew me from the companies, they weren't allowing me to do the advertisement. I was allowed to go in and, I bought Wii's for senior center and we did Wii tournaments when Wii was a big thing.
Misty, I thought for a minute you said you bought weed for senior center. I don't know. Were you in Colorado at the time?
Justin, put a disclaimer because I'm telling you, there's
Wii's, Nintendo Wii's for the senior centers.
I'll have a hippie band and peace signs. The next thing you know.
Some of them would have loved you, I'm sure. Most of them would probably
been a big hit.
No, in Colorado, that might have been okay. I don't know if with Medicare, but
yeah. Well, that's hilarious. So, Nintendo Wii's, that's actually a cool idea, though, because I'm sure they got a kick out of that back then.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about them getting hurt. But we have Senior Olympics here, too, that we were a big sponsor of, too. And we would get to go and volunteer and do that. And so the Wii's were a lot safer.
So I started out, doing grassroots style marketing with the BNI groups and Tupelo young professionals and going. It was really more professional networking to build referral relationships, but then stopping by pharmacies, PNC shops, stuff like that. And so I tried to preach that to some of our guys now.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I got out and did. Justin was like, you need to get out in the community. And I started going to every dentist, every place I could think of that our clientele would be at, and trying to create that relationship.
And we're actually doing a poor job of it now because we got so good at branded media and developing inbound calls that we got away from that. And so some of our first quarter initiative, we started talking to our in-house agents, and I've assigned them all within January to become, at least members of one civic organization. And I said, we'll pay the fee to the civic organization. We'll pay for any, ongoing fees you might have, whether it's like Rotary Club or something, just anything to start getting us involved in those types of things. And it's good for them too, professionally to go out and network and build the relationships, but then to go as an ambassador of our brand would help us. So it's something that I've seen people like you and some others out there. Honestly, like you're right though, on the bargain shopping thing. I've noticed that the really successful female agents, more times than not, have been the really good grassroots marketers.
Awesome grassroots marketers. It's a common theme.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Men are like, I got to figure out Facebook and I got to run TV ads and I got to do this. Women are just going out and talking to people, and the ones that do
are being really successful.
They're really successful. Yeah. I think it's a breath. I've said this before. I think it's a breath of fresh air for the consumer when there is a female agent that goes out and takes that initiative, because men are a little bit more threatening sometimes, like, oh, it's the salesman, and we look like the salesman. And so a woman's kind of like, well, okay, I'll talk to you about it, and I'm not. And there's the reverse side of that, where there's also, we've had women that came in, older women, more women than men, that came in and wouldn't talk to a woman agent. I need to talk to a male agent, but they were mostly like 85 year, ways. A lot of them are widowed, and I think they're used to their husband handling it, and so they wanted to talk to a man to feel like that. But for the most part, I try to tell, I think if females go out and make videos, brand themselves, not think of it as being like, sometimes they're too worried about what other people think to go out and say, hey, I'm Medicare Misty, I'm here to help. Yeah. And because now you're Medicare Misty and everybody's like, oh, that's Medicare Misty. But when you start, people are like, who does she think she is?
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's everybody though. Who did anybody think they were in the beginning when they were creating that brand? They say the same thing about us when we started putting out content. Who do they think they are? We just think we're wanting to put out content and have a good time and help people. That's all we're really about.
Well, and I think one time, Justin, you had said in a podcast that a little bit of everything helps. So a little bit of Facebook, a little bit of grassroots marketing. I didn't have I'm still not techie at all.
Yeah.
But that I'm good at talking to people. I can talk to a wall, but it's true. If you just do a little bit and then whatever works the best, you can pour money, more money into that. And I just happen to be good at the relationships. I'm actually from Oklahoma, born and raised, and came to college here. And then after I graduated, I just stayed. I fell in love. You go from Tornado Alley to tipping cows for fun, good times, to beautiful mountains and lakes, and then I built great friendships here. So I'd already started in the community, coming here from college, then working in several places, while I was going to college, helped too. So a lot of people don't know that you can build your brand. Just, they always say never burn bridges before you even figure out what you want to do when you grow up too. But you had said that. And I think everything helps to do it, because you just don't, because there's sometimes when people say, "Oh, I've never heard of you." And I'm thinking, how? I'm everywhere. Like in Chattanooga.
I'm telling you, because we've running TV ads and, a lot of other marketing for years. And I'll hear Johnny on the phone and he'll use that every time. It's like, "Oh, Bobby Rock Insurance, with the ones on TV, and every now and then I hear somebody go, no, and they live like 5 miles from our office."
Well, it's funny too, because Johnny will do it with people that are out of state too.
Yeah, he'll do it.
He just assumes they know.
But
it works.
It works because they're like, well, maybe I should know.
Right.
Yes.
Hey, they don't want to feel bad for not knowing who you are. So
everybody, but they'll with the saying that we've used is what you're talking about. Everything works a little, nothing works a lot. And, time works with any metric. So if I'm trying anything, whether it's just going out and talking to people every single day. I heard somebody say a long time ago, there was a guy who's a big life insurance salesman, and he didn't do any marketing. He just gallivanted around town, going to convenience stores, going everywhere. He'd buy a Coke. "Hey, I'm John." I don't remember his name. "Hey, I'm John Smith, and I sell life insurance." Hand him a card. That's all he would do. He'd do it all over town. And apparently he was like a, huge premium producer for life insurance, but he didn't do anything over the phone. It was always just going out and doing things. And there's some people that, I don't think Medicare Misty would have become who you are if you would have started off, in a call center, because it doesn't meet your personality. Right. You're somebody that probably needs to go out and talk to people. I was the same way. And when we started evolving, doing more telesales, I did well, but we eventually started getting more agents in there, because I was like, man, I can't handle the workload of all telesales all day long, because I do want to be, out there and meeting people as well.
But we firmly do believe that everything works a little bit and nothing, works a lot. But for you, Misty, was there anything that you found that actually did work, more often than some other things, especially with your grassroots marketing? Was there any like, food banks or something that was a little bit more fruitful? Yeah.
Before COVID, food banks were the hot spot, but now you drive up, you put it in the trunk. And we've done with COVID, we tried to put, allow them to let us put it in the trunk, say hi. We've also put some information in there for you, because that was tough for us when COVID changed everything for us, even grassroots marketing. And when they say never get comfortable in your business, I always thought we never would have that issue, because who thought of a pandemic? And we've had to think outside the box, because I never bought leads. I didn't have the money. So I never bought leads until COVID. And I wouldn't have had to buy leads if I didn't have a team, because with me, I can sustain, me and a few agents with just what I built. But the bigger I get, the harder it gets to sustain them. So I started buying leads, and I tell you, it gets really expensive. And when somebody meets you, they're going to answer that phone versus the 90 million phone calls that they get a month. But food banks were popular. Doing lunch and learns for doctors were very popular. And there's a lot of social workers out there that are in the field every day. I do social worker lunch and learns. That is a hot spot too, because when they're in the home, they're asking them, "Hey, do you know where I can get my teeth done?" Or, "Hey, I've got a toothache," or my glasses, I broke my glasses. Do you know how I can get some glasses? And Depends. You know how I can get some Depends? I don't have the money. And so networking with them, doing lunch and learns, providing, at that time, I didn't have the money to give a referral. But I would try to do something nice, like partnering with restaurants, or partnering with, I got a couple friends that own a gift shop. Hey, what could you give me this where you can still make a little bit and I can do a bunch? There's always creative ways that I think people forget, and that especially now people are actually hurting for money, because still hurting from the economy being shut down for 2 years. So people are looking to partner any possible way that they can, where it's a partnership. I did a zoo event and had a free senior day at the zoo, and invited all during COVID. And I was pretty scared about it. I prayed about it pretty hard, just to make sure nobody would be, affected by it. We were outside. It's an outside zoo, of course. And I invited all the senior market, the home health care, the nursing homes, the anything that dealt with senior care. And that was a big, and I didn't charge them. I just said, you can come. United Healthcare sponsored it. I did that with the baseball team here also. So I partnered in a way. And then, I think it's Emily, the one that talks about the carrier relationships, building that carrier relationship, and then giving back to other people that are hurting in the field, really tripled my business. And now when there's something that they're doing, I'm going to be the first person that they call too. But I decided to, every year, because United Healthcare made that agreement with me, to let all of them come, at no cost, to build their business and their brand too. And there was probably all throughout the zoo about 35 vendors, that came and that built their business, and we're very thankful too. And it helped the zoo. The zoo was hurting because nobody's visiting the zoo during COVID, because you couldn't. So partnerships like that.
All of that, and that's some of these massive call centers that are really struggling on their way they're doing business. It's because in the pandemic, when they thought people were going to go on the phone, and they initially did, but then the gold rush to phone sales has killed their long-term value of each client. It's because they're not pouring back into like building a business that, and these are the types of businesses we should be edifying and striving to, is businesses that actually help the communities that they're in. And that's why we always preach this, branding and building a business that can do business by phone and in person in a way that services a geographic area, rather than like trying to be like, I'm going to do all 50 states. I'm going to do over the phone, and I'm going to have Pakistanis telemarketing people and throw them to me. It's just not a great, it's like, basically you're saying, I want to build a bunch of renewals really fast.
Yeah.
And I get that, but that's not a business.
Mm-mm.
That's like a scheme. And I'm not scheming. You're not scheming. So I'm going to take a break really quick, and we're going to come back and have a couple other questions for you, Misty.
Okay.
It's time to grow your agency like a guru. Introducing Go Guru Pro. The Go High Level platform allows for minimizing software-based subscriptions and grants control over several facets of marketing and communication. Automate your workflow, communicate with your leads, book appointments in advance, and house all your clients in one secure location. Visit goguru.pro and schedule your one-on-one demo today. All right, and we're back. That was
Cool.
A great sponsor.
One of the best ones.
So listen, we were talking this morning in our Go Guru University weekly call. And I was trying to talk to some of those guys and gals about money coming in January and where to spend it. It's the booty, the treasure, right? That we're all after when you get some of these bigger deposits in January. But a big mistake people make is going out and buying, especially individual agents newer to it, is going out and spending that on stuff that doesn't net them any kind of return. It's not equipment for their business. It's not, an increased, office space. It's not hiring. It's not advertising in a way that builds.
It's essentially not a write-off.
Yeah, it's not a write-off. First of all, you can't write it off. Second of all, it doesn't help your business. Misty, is there anything that, and I'm sure this is different every year. Like we're always where do we put our money or our time, our energy, our investment? anything this January, you know, as money's starting to coming in and you're starting to count the loot up like a kid on Halloween, like separating all the candy. What do I got? Where did the chips fall? Is there any way you're putting that money, or that you're looking at, or that you're interested in your business? What do you think?
Yeah, we meet usually like the 20th, I think is when we met this year, to do OEP training and see what the agents want to do and what my GAs want to do. And I try to keep a tally of what brought in the most referrals, and then whatever brought the most referrals in, then I put more money back into that. But I'm still doing a little bit of everything. Always grassroots marketing, but radio, TV, you know, people are still working from home. And so I've talked to a couple of friends that have an office from home, and their TV is still going in the background when they're waiting for a call because they're in their home. And it was funny when I was like, "Are you doing laundry?" You know, they're like, "Don't tell so and so," which, you know, they're sitting there.
The TV concept is funny too, because a lot of people think, oh, there's so many TV commercials. Like, how do you stand out? It's easy. Don't be Joe Namath.
Yes.
Don't be be a local person. This is a local
Look
TV,
local,
you know, like
feel local.
Don't think like, oh, I'm going to go throw TV commercials out, you know, and compete with Joe Namath. You're not. Those people are already looking for answers like Joe Namath, like the Joe Namath question. What is he talking about, right? But they don't want to ask that 1-800 number because they know, they have a gut feeling that is a scam or spam or something. So when they have a local one, there's a significant number of those people that say, well, I'll call this local one. This is less threatening. They're a resource, and they can tell me what he's talking about, you know, and then you can tell them what they're talking about. So TV is, we love TV, but I think people just have a misunderstanding of how TV advertising works.
I honestly think, like, we're in the best business to get a large portion of our pay right at the beginning of the year, because you can put a lot of that back into your business, and you can see how it's going to work for the new year, because right after the new year, like, you should be evaluating your business, setting goals and setting things. And so to have a large, you know, surge of money put into your business, like, you should take majority of that, put it right back into it, and grow again next year.
So Gary Alford said, you know, we just partnered with the Gary Alford agency in South Haven, is about an hour and a half from here. He was telling me he used to be in the pizza business years ago, and he said the pizza restaurant can only their revenue has a ceiling at how much pizza can they distribute on a Friday night, and so our ceiling, you know, is capped by what we can do in AEP. But marketing for AEP and it starts January. So we're looking at January. You got OEP marketing, but not even just OEP. Before OEP, we're in that interim when OEP was shut down and it wasn't around for a while. We were back into
we're not advertising marketing. OEP. We're marketing.
We're marketing generally, and utilizing it for the benefit of our clients if necessary. But if we're advertising in January all the way up to September, not necessarily advertising any enrollment period. We're advertising turning 65, general Medicare questions, people who are retiring, people who are low income subsidy, all these different things. Absolutely. And then the ones that you can't help, you're building this massive pipeline for AEP. And then one of the reasons Johnny did so well in AEP this year is before it even started, he had like 150 like people who he couldn't ride in the lockout period. He already had them scheduled like October 15th, October 16th, October 17th. He was full. I mean, that first couple of weeks, he was booming.
175 lined up, ready to talk to.
Just boom. Wow. But that's a good day. Year-round marketing. Some people like try to make this a seasonal gig. Yeah. So Misty, is this a seasonal gig?
No, and I'll tell you what though, before COVID, I was doing it seasonal. I was marketing, but I wasn't spending any. I mean, I was like grassrooting, but I wasn't spending any marketing money. And now since COVID, I do it all year round, and it's made a big difference. Yeah. Exactly what you said with Johnny. It made a big difference. And I think it made a big difference of the competition too, because their mindset, and actually I've been the only one in Chattanooga for a long time. So that's not the case anymore. And when I would advertise, I wouldn't have to do as much. Well, now all my competitors are advertising, which they never did before. They never even did grassroots marketing. I'd be at a booth, and even with that when I went from captive to independent, I still didn't have competition at the grassroots. And so now I see them now, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
But the good thing is I have 16 years of it, so
that's right. You got some renewals too. You can put towards some of
yes.
that towards advertising,
Yes.
and might choke them out a little bit. So,
But one thing I want to touch on, I don't know if you get this too, guys, but agents will say, well, it's so saturated. Quit hiring people, so saturated. It is not saturated. There is dentists we haven't seen. There's pharmacies we haven't seen. I took I think it was 3 of them out right before Christmas, before AEP ended. And I said, hey, I know it's AEP. We usually don't do this during AEP, but I think it's important. And I took him in the radius of my office, and we found this pharmacist, and totally God thing, because he was like, yeah, I have to market. And he's an independent pharmacy. I have to market to keep my business. Well, a brand I'm not going to talk about, I had just bought them, and the brand is stealing, I shouldn't say stealing, is taking a lot of money from him. Like if somebody has a prescription and they don't pick it up, they're charging him for it. And so he's losing a lot of money on the end, and he helps clients tremendously. Like if they can't afford it, he'll help, even if they're like, say, make $1,500 a month and you're over, or $1,800 over the low income subsidy level, he'll help them with their copay. And he's out networking and building a relationship. And so it was a good time to show the agents that some that are, there's a couple of that like, Misty, I'm not like you. And I'm like, well, you got to keep doing it. And I think we've said it, and I've said it, that if you're not getting uncomfortable with your business, you're not growing. So doing grassroots marketing for some guys isn't as easy as for some, but if you keep doing it, it's an easier way and a cheaper way to build that brand. On top of, you meet other people that are in the same boat that want to help you get there, and then partner with this pharmacy that, he told me he has over, I think it was like 5,500 clients that he has. And he can only give so much. You can't give the bank away, but if you're getting, more, and then people are giving you. So I said, I gave him my business. I have a heart condition. So I gave him my business. The 3 agents with me that weren't even in that area said, he delivers to people. So it was a good eye opener that people don't realize that businesses out there need your help. And if you can be creative and find a partnership, they're going to help you. You're going to help them. I've already sent him, and that was, I think, 3 weeks ago. I've already sent him 15 new clients to be like, you got to see this guy. He'll deliver them to you. Because one guy was like, well, that's too far. And I said, that's okay. He'll deliver them to you. And he's probably a 4-man shop.
Yeah.
So how he does it, it's just amazing. But there's several people out there that people just don't realize. And I think we say go grassroots. And so I go out and train them how to grassroots for a week, because some people's like, well, okay, go to a dentist. Well, what do I say? So I think we're missing, that's why I want to, at Medicare Con, is actually set up a little scene and teach them how to actually do it, because they don't understand. And people have told me, I don't even have money for cookies. Well, bake them, the cookies. That means more, than giving them from a store that bought them.
Yeah.
I would rather bake cookies.
Yeah. knowing what you did with the weed at the senior centers, you got weed brownies.
Justin.
I'm just kidding. Misty didn't do that. I was just making a joke. So no, but it's funny. I saw Eric DeJean post something I'd read before yesterday about people say they're an introvert, and he said there's no such thing as an introvert. So I think what he's getting at is people train themselves to think that they're not outwardly expressing or outgoing, or actually you can train yourself to be that way too. Like actually Steven's personality, his like the default I would think is he loves really getting in the weeds and figuring out a problem and going a mile deep into it. So some people would probably calculate that would be an introverted. He's actually a really good salesperson because he's trained himself to do it, because he didn't have a choice. He started off like 18 years old going into sales, to some degree. So it's people become who they have to. And so if you think you're an introvert, or you think that you're not able to go out and network with people, you can convince yourself that's true. But once you do it for a while, you find out that it's actually pretty fun to find people that you can help and help them. And I
Yeah.
mean, even if you find them that you can't, sometimes you'll find people that don't need any help that'll help you. And then sometimes you'll find people that neither one of you could help each other necessarily, but you're still friends.
Yeah,
you
what I
know?
found was everybody that I went out and put myself in front of and talked to and tried to create the relationship, they were receiving of that, and they tried to do the same. It was nobody was just like, "No, I don't wanna talk to you. I don't wanna have anything to do with what you're doing." When you come in and yeah, you're well spoken, you're well put together, and you are offering value to their clients.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, giving them something first instead of just coming in and saying, "Hey, can you send me all your clients? I'm here to write business. Like, I'm trying to write all the insurance in the world. Send me everybody you got." No, go in there and offer them some sort of value add, and then they're gonna, return the favor to you.
Johnny, I know I pick on Johnny a lot, but he may it's funny to see your brother, that's younger than you do some of the same mistakes that you did early on. So he went like the first pharmacy he ever went to and tried to do was we talk about this in the background, and he didn't start off grassroots marketing. He started off working leads, like direct mail leads, doing it, and he's good at that. He's really good at that stuff. But he was at a pharmacy, and it was a Walgreens, I think. And I'm like, first mistake, super corporate pharmacies, not typically as good a referral partners, but I mean, it's possible. But
Yeah.
he asked somebody there, and he said, "Hey, all those drug plans people ask you to do, don't worry about it. You can send those to me."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm trying to help them out." I was like, "We're trying to help you out."
Yeah.
You didn't go in there like that. They hear that pitch probably from everybody,
Yeah.
and then plus they have a partnership with like eHealth and United Healthcare.
Right.
So
Oh,
so I was like, probably not Walgreens anyway, but B, when you're going in, try to make it about them. So what I told them is go in and say, "Hey, we have customers coming to us that use you guys, and some of the networks you're in showing up standard and things like that. Who do you prefer your customers have? Like, which one's easiest for you to work with?"
yeah.
They want to tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, like, "Oh yeah, as a pharmacy, we sure prefer using," and they're all different. Most of them hate certain carriers, but I won't name any. I was about to, but I shouldn't. But the one of them might prefer Humana, the other one might prefer United Healthcare, the other one might prefer Cigna. It doesn't matter. Whatever they prefer, you're just listening to them. But oh, that makes sense. Take notes. Just be interested, and then build that relationship. You could almost leave it completely at that conversation, and then come in later on and try to think of something else. Just bring them a gift basket. It is a marathon to building quality relationships.
Or the first person you send over there, tell them, "Hey, tell them Medicare Misty sent you over here
Yeah.
when you go to pick up your drugs." And then just that one person walking in and saying that
Yeah.
Yeah.
will create so much more value for you out of that relationship.
And then say, "Hey,
Absolutely.
I sent Tina over here the other day and she was so happy. Thank you guys so much for taking good care of her." They don't know who Tina is. She might not even know who, but they're thinking, "Oh, you sent us somebody." So that's nice. And definitely, think of things that way.
But I think that's a great idea is, like you said, having the setting and letting new agents hear that conversation. Because for me, that was a huge problem in the very beginning when I wasn't in the office. I was out on my own. And so the first, the first few appointments that I went to, it's like I had never actually seen an appointment. I'd heard appointments. I'd set in on some face to face, but it's different when you're actually going out there. And the first time you're having to spit that out of your mouth, it's different. So
Yeah.
you
And
know,
it's
just
scary. It's scary too, because you're like, oh, what do I say? Where me, I'm just
You're like
that. But
this.
yeah.
What do I do with my hands? Listen, you brought it up earlier, but you're coming to Medicare Con,
Yes.
and I'm going to be presenting at Medicare Con. So we're excited to have you talk about grassroots marketing, talk about how to build those relationships that pay dividends forever. And I think it starts, with not even viewing it as what you're getting out of it, because if you think about what you can do for other people, you'll get stuff out of it.
Absolutely.
Don't start with what can you do for me, but
Exactly.
but you're going to talk about that. It's going to be awesome. We're so excited to have you
I'm
as a
excited to
guest.
go.
I think what you're talking about, you'll be the only one there that's really focusing on grassroots. I mean, I kind of look at ourselves as like a hodgepodge. Like when we talk about stuff, it's kind of maybe we take a little bit from everything. But yours is going to be, I feel like more intently on that. And then I hope you hit on some things that, people are thinking, like, the evolution of how you've done in the business, coming into it from a female perspective, which I know has been different, and there's a lot of times we talk to female agents and they'll bring up stuff. And I was like, well, I don't know how to resonate with that. So or just ask Misty or ask Emily. Like, I just, we thankfully have a lot of great partners that are females that we can just refer them to, and they have that. But there's different aspects of it. And so we're very excited to have you presenting there. And it's going to be a blast.
I'm excited too. I really am excited helping people, because I know there's a lot of people out there that need it, and some, don't have FMOs like us that are helping them. So I'm glad to be partnering with y'all, and appreciate the opportunity to do that. Absolutely. Too. And there's some great, what you said before, because of this platform, I've met some amazing women, like, and I want to share this, and I'll probably share it at Medicare Con. My son played basketball, and he played at a private little school. So he was a all-star at this private school. Well, when he got into AAU, he got intimidated and started whining about, he won't let me play, or, and just whining. Well, coming to these conferences, and me, I thought I was an all-star, but coming to these conferences, and I am in my own little world, but there is amazing women, amazing men too, that are here, that are all-stars, that I'm excited. And it kind of gets, because I told my son, I said, I can see where you kind of get, a little afraid, and it comes competitive, but they all want to help. And that's a different, where it's okay, because we're competitors, because we're 5 states away or 6 states away. And we can still be competitors and still learn from each other. But I think a lot of people, they see the competition. Like my son, he wanted to go back to that. And I said, no, you're not going to grow. If you're not around rock stars, you're going to be the only rock star, and you're not growing. And so it seems to me a little intimidating, but it helps you grow. And it's done that for me, because, there is a grassroots marketing that wrote a book. I wish I would have wrote a book. You wrote a book. I've not wrote a book yet. And I've got so many things, and it's like, where do I put them all? And I think speaking about it is going to help, resonate that book, and on top of help a lot of people build this Medicare. And we want to build people that are helping seniors, because like the call centers, we need to stick together to build a brand, and know that we're doing something good, and we can't do it alone. We have to do it in numbers, and hopefully the call centers will be the day of the past, because still people want somebody real. And if something happens when you sign up with somebody from a call center, good luck getting in touch with them again.
Yeah. And there are, it's some of the call centers, and I'm definitely don't want to, not that you're doing this, box them all into one, but there's like groups of call centers that, like we're saying, just try to scale the renewal game, and they're capitalized, and they're doing things in a bad way. And there's some that are doing things a good way. One of them is our friend who's going to be there, Jagger Esch, who has more of a Medicare supplement focused call center. All of his traffic's like coming from organic people searching on Google. They do a great job, but him and I have talked, and one of the things that we really want to figure out ways to produce content to kind of pressure the carriers into acknowledging that these relationships with these mega call centers that have renewal first, client last in mind is not good for them. It's not good for our business. It's not good for the Medicare beneficiaries. And I'm a capitalist through and through. I love capitalism. I love free market economies, but we have to play the game as if we're going to build 100-year business, and they're not. They're trying to build it really fast, sell off, cash out, go drive Bentleys, and smoke crack together, or whatever the hell they do. but we have to pressure the biggest and largest FMOs and organizations and carriers into the fact that they have an obligation to help the Medicare beneficiary and help the honest, quality agencies that are building good groups. And it doesn't mean that we won't have a complaint against us every now and then or something, because we all have mistakes. Yeah. But I mean, the number of complaints that I've heard some of these call centers have, and the way that they can somehow just keep dancing around doing the same song and dance and skirting got like compliance, and the customer satisfaction rating, the amount of service they're doing is atrocious.
In the nature of the complaints, like what they're alleging.
Yeah.
Well, they're being mean. One client told me, they said, I have an agent, quit calling me. And they said, we don't care. And I was like, they said, we don't care. And then they kept talking. And she goes, so I just hung up on them.
It's a very bad thing. And I'm sure this happens in a lot of industries, but we're, I think Medicare is the target of some of that right now, some of that expansion. And, I want to, any carrier that's listening to this or any carrier rep, my feedback is that you should pressure the top brass that we have an obligation to leave a positive impact on the clients, the agents, and everyone. And that we got to quit rewarding this acquisition game. It's a long-term game. It's not a short-term game. Nobody's making any money or doing anybody any justice by not thinking about keeping a client for their lifetime. That's the goal. Get a client and keep them happy for the rest of their life. And if that's not your goal, get out of the business, because I don't want you here, and I'm going to use my platform to always speak out against it.
Absolutely. And I think there's other ways of fraud they're talking about. They say they're Medicare. They say, your Medicare number is expiring. That's a new one that's come up here too. And I've been now saying that on TV commercials, that please do not, Medicare does not call you.
I think I'm a proponent for a rule that we not allow calls, transfers that generate outside of the United States to be allowed in the Medicare market or the insurance market at all.
Period.
I'd say take all of that out, and you'd have a few call centers that be scrambling real big right now. And it's garbage. Like having these people from Pakistan that were calling this was the worst year ever for that. The commercials were one thing. They were just kind of annoying, but I felt like most of our customers saw through that. But these call centers that were calling. Thankfully, our customers are so loyal to us because we've built a great brand. So the majority of them, we didn't lose a whole bunch to that. I probably lost more to, a smaller independent agents that I don't know, which is fine. Honestly, if I lost that, I probably didn't deserve them if they got them most of the time. But we didn't lose a lot to them, but there was a lot of people that, got bamboozled by that stuff. And the way they would call, I took a bunch of these calls. I got in their call algorithm. It was ridiculous. I mean, I'll tell you, Misty, I was getting 100 calls a day, and I got in this algorithm, and every one of them was Pakistan. And first, the way they originate those calls is completely not compliant. But by the time it makes its way to the U.S. side call center, it's been through 3 screeners. So tracing down where it originated from and having to report on what's compliant and what's not would be real difficult. But I think the way to get it is just to make it where a call cannot originate outside of the United States. Plus, if you want to telemarket, fine. Now you got to pay people in the United States, and they cost a little more. So what? It costs a little more. Quit being cheap and trying to, build $100 million sellout business in 2 years, and then driving your Bentleys around. I don't have any love for it. It's tacky, and it's not good for the economy, the world, anybody, except for that one clown. I have somebody in mind who can say that, but there's a lot of them that do it. So
amen.
We're on the same page. Glad you're building a quality business. Can't wait to see you at Medicare Con, where we will continue that same tone against the bad actors. When most people in our market, I think, are good and are trying to build quality businesses and do the right thing. Because I talked to a lot of agents, most of them are good, and I can't wait to see about 350 to 400 of them in Birmingham in April at Medicare Con, where Medicare Misty will be delivering some gold. So thank you so much for being here today, Misty. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Yes. Happy New Year. And thank you again for the opportunity. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Misty. Enjoyed it.
All right. Bye.
It's time to grow your agency like a guru. Introducing Go Guru Pro. The Go High Level platform allows for minimizing software-based subscriptions and grants control over several facets of marketing and communication. Automate your workflow, communicate with your leads, book appointments in advance, and house all your clients in one secure location. Visit goguru.pro and schedule your one-on-one demo today. And now a word from our sponsor, Heartland National Life Insurance Company. Guys, when I talk about Heartland National Life Insurance Company, I get pretty passionate because those guys have been so good to us in our endeavor to better serve our clients with fully customizable hospital indemnity plans to go along with both ACA and Medicare Advantage plans successfully. I'm looking at the notes. I had to break script, but it is important to note that Heartland National provides competitive Medicare supplement options and hospital indemnity plans in 36 states. That's 36 states where you're going to have a product selection with this company. And this company was started by an agent with the agent in mind. It's very important to know that, because when you're out there producing, sometimes it feels like you're not thought of by the insurance company. But this product is thinking of the consumer and the agent alike. It makes it really easy for us to do our job, covering more risks, getting compensated like we deserve, and making sure that our clients have the coverage they need. Head over to BobbyBrockInsurance.com/Heartland, BobbyBrockInsurance.com/Heartland, to get set up with access to these products immediately. You're not going to regret it. Thanks, guys, for watching.